So if we're not sure what it is exactly, there's no simple answer to that. But when I think about it, one of the thoughts I've had lately, I used to say connection before content. Before we get down to business, let's get connected. And then lately, I thought that was the more strong belief we have is connection is the content. And that's the radical nature of what we do wherever we're going. We say that if you want to ever get something done, your connection with the people in this room are an accelerator or a detractor from whenever your business, real activism, whatever it is you care about, without focusing laterally with relationships, it's going to go slower. And so we just held a gathering called Connecting for the Common Good, and the subtitle is Connection is the Content. And I realized for most of my career, I treated myself as an interesting sideshow. I work with big companies. Hi, we want to have a retreat, and I would be hired for a retreat. And that said something about who I was in the world, that I only show up in retreat, never in advance or never in the moment. And so I've decided lately, well, maybe what we're doing matters more than I realized. It doesn't change what we do. So that's one thought we can explore. The other is I love being invited to unexpected places. And my intent now is to bring our focus on relatedness as being the content uh, to wherever we want, wherever I go. And the last book I wrote was Activating the Common Good. And I feel our notion of what it means to be an activist is too narrow. It means we're protesting against someone else's something. And I've lost faith in protest because then I'm waiting for someone else's transformation, and it's not going to come. And we stand in front of the mayor's office, but the last mayor and this mayor and the next mayor aren't going to help. Now, leadership to me is very capable of hurting things, but they can't create things. And so, do I care who's running things? Yes, but only because I want to minimize the destruction. If I want to find where the invention is, then I have to find connectors, middle, upper middle, neighborhoods, community work we're doing is it's fine. And so that's going to, wherever I get invited, I figure, well, maybe I'm here to help who's in the room connect with each other in the name of what they thought they were coming for. And all the time when I do that, people say, Peter, that's not what I came for. And I think, good. Now, then I have something value to add. Because what they came for, their expectations are too low. I never ask people, what do you expect from this? Because they worship too small a God. I want a tool. I want a technique. I want to move forward. I want a list. All these little things are too small for whatever they're up to. So I got invited 2 Fridays ago to a conference from a CFELD. I don't know what they do, but I know they're environmentalists. And they're trying to give nature a legal status in court, in legislation. And so Tish gave the opening talk about this, giving your life to it. And then I was next. And so I always know what I'm going to do once I say hello, thank you. I broke them into small groups. And I asked them what the crossroads you're at with respect to what Tish just talked about. What doubts do you have? What's the no you've been postponing? Was all in the context of being environmentally committed. And it was a great evening. I realized that they came caring about the ecology of the river and what we represent is to help them care about the ecology of the room. And if you don't have both those things, then what you came for is not going to go so well. You're still waiting for someone else's transformation. For a judge to make up their mind, for Standard Oil or Exxon to say, oh, good point. Let's back off on our oil industry and care about But if you focus who's in the room and you say, well, what can we create with each other within reach? And it doesn't mean you don't protest or go to court. And I don't know, the speaker invited me to a podcast. And I thought, wow, this is right where I belong. I don't know what the hell they do or what they care about. Thank you for the invitation. I'm coming. And so to me, wherever we are, we say, well, how do we help people have a horizontal perspective? And I've always done that. I just never thought it mattered. I get invited to Rotary, and it's not my favorite organization, but I get invited to Rotary. And hi, I'm your speaker. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for what you do. Would you break into small groups with two people you don't know and answer the following question? I get invited to a board meeting at the YMCA. Kate's a friend of mine. Would you come and do 2 hours with our board? Hi, I'm the speaker. Thanks for inviting me. And then would you break into groups of three with two people you don't know and talk about why it's important for you to be on this board and what matters here? And then would you talk about whether you feel your gifts are being fully utilized? And then we come back after 12 minutes, 13 if they're slow. And what struck you? And they said, well, I've been on this board for 2.5 years and I've never had this kind of a conversation with other board members. Wow. How'd you feel about that? They said, now I know why I'm here. So that's the context. And we don't have to, they can call us anything they want. Call me OD, call me consultant, call me other words I won't use at the moment. And I changed my bio. I'm a citizen of Cincinnati. Everything else is footnote. I'm not interested in what I wrote, what I did. And so I just think that's what's occurring. And we're trying to focus on us as connectors, which is, to me, a step above leadership. I'm not interested, I am, but I'm not in leaders. I'm interested in connectors. Who are the people that are going to build lateral relationships for the sake of wherever we came into the room? So we did a conference in May, Connecting for the Common Good in Cincinnati, since I don't go anywhere. And, 90 people came from around the country and Canada. Why? Because they want to affirm the importance of connecting. It wasn't tools, no speakers. And some people say, well, when are we going to get down to business? When are we going to get something done? And I say, oh, sorry, you missed the point. Kindly, eye contact. But what we do is the point. A conversation is an action step, and the world doesn't want to believe that because they don't want to have a conversation. They want to exchange information, exchange opinions. But we know how to have conversations with questions that hold people as agents of why they're in the room. And even most webinars, even in our field, our speaker today is, and then we sit passively and are relegated to chat. And at the end, do you have questions? And does he have answers? All those are colonial structures. Q&A, who's got the question? Who's has the answer? We got it backwards. If I was hosting a speaker, I'd say, Peter, what questions did you come with? And now can we open it up, the group, and find out what's your response to his questions? So that doubt is welcome, no matter whether you're sitting or standing, front of the room or side. And I don't know, people get it once we do. And I don't have to explain what I do. I say, well, rather than explain it, let's do it. And so if I'm on a podcast and somebody's asking me this or that, how do you deal with this? How do you deal with that? And I say, well, why don't you be that person and we'll play it out. We'll role play it right now in the middle of the podcast. Well, I don't know. I know you don't know. You be the person, be a jerk. And so we take 3 minutes and you say, well, let's create an experience for us which carries our intention much more than any words we use to describe it. Like one of the mm, protocols, okay, one of our kind of a communal protocols is that halfway through you say that you're getting what you came for. Now, in the colonial protocol, we ask for your opinions after it's over. Okay, how was it? Well, it's too late to do anything about it. And so all these little moments you create are an expression of a communal organization of development, if you call it for this moment, way of being. And we do it in the midst of Robert's Rules of Order, is how most formal meetings are held. Robert was a general and he named it well. These are rules for order, as if I came for order. In most meetings I go to, the first thing they say is, we're going to get you out of here on time. Oh, that's what I came for, is to leave on time. Awesome, baby. And so, but all the little things we thought were small and needed permission for, you say, well, let me bring that to wherever I am. And for years, I've been invited in places where I had no idea who they were or what they were doing. And before I get there, they always want to let me know what I'm getting into. And I've never been interested because I know the world they're describing is their creation. That people make up the story. They say, oh, my boss is terrible. Am I thinking, well, why are you creating a boss like that if you don't want it? Rather than saying, until my boss changes, even my stories. I'm not interested in what got you here because you made it up. It's fiction. And part of what we're trying to do is help people live into a different narrative, a different story about what this moment is, what this movement is, what this company is, what this family is, and a narrative in which we're agents, we're not reactors. I'm not blaming good healing therapy as re-remembering my past in a more forgiving way. That's what I want from my therapist. And that's what we can do. That's what your methodologies. This is what we're bringing out loud in this particular moment. And we show up to create the alternative, not to find out what's wrong with what's present. And there's a lot with wrong is what's present, and I can criticize anything, even moments of joy. One woman once said, Peter, you don't seem to experience joy. And I said, I know, I'm a Jew. Leave me alone. So I can find darkness anywhere you want to go. Okay. But you say, I came here to create the alternative. And so I'm not interested in your history. What happened? Now, I'm overstating it. But let's decide how we want to be in this moment. And I like the notion that every moment is a small version of the world I want to inhabit, which means I don't have to wait for anything. Is the world the one I want to inhabit? No. Is it? It's hard. It's just hard. Can I explain it? No. And I once asked my friend who's a philosopher, why is there so much suffering in the world? And he said, that's a question for God. I can't help you there. And so be it. And then now, how do we want to spend our time together? And we do it without explaining it. Hi, I'm an OD person. I'm here to, no, thank you for inviting me. What do you do? I'll show you in a minute if I ever stop talking. And so and then you adapt. And that's what's keep me engaged now is to say connection, which you know how to do, is the content. I'm not interested in serving people dinner, people, why, when do we get a seat I don't want a seat at the table. I want to be the table. We're the reason they came. And whatever guise you needed to get in the room, leave it on and say thank you. And I remember once with the OD Network conference, uh, Peter Kesselbaum and I were asked to give a talk, and they said, Peter, just want to let you know that when you give your talk, don't break us into small groups. Okay, we're here for content. Okay, and I thought, oh my God, these are my people. Okay, thank you for inviting us, Peter Talk. I said, hi, my name is Peter. Before we get started, would you please break into small groups and have the following? And what are they going to do? Fire me? Yank me? And they say, why did you do that? Because I wanted you to have an experience of what we showed up for. And some people, I don't want to do that. I know you don't want to, but don't go anywhere. This is bull, in the community stuff. This is baloney. It's not what I came for. I came for. I know it's not, but would you please join a small group? Just don't say anything. Don't leave the room. Just say, I pass. We need you here, comma. I'm not going to use the word, but call them anything you want. And so I think, and people, once they have the experience, they get what you're up to in a small way without even, and you can tell them, I just, and that way you can show up anywhere. CIA hired me once. What am I going to do with that? And they put a hood over my head going into Langley. It was one of the high points of my life. I thought, I must be somebody going somewhere if they don't want me to see anything. And then you get there and you find there's a bunch of managers wondering what the hell to do with the people they manage. And I said, I'm glad to be here. There's a human dimension everywhere. And then I've said this too many times, but at lunch they said, would you please put your notes in a folder? We want to put it in a cabinet and lock it during lunch so nobody steals what you wrote down. And I almost cried. I thought, finally, somebody values what I have to say. And so I just use that as a metaphor to me. I don't care where you are. I don't make any demands other than, and none of what we're doing is trying to change anybody's mind. We're looking for people looking for us. And even if they don't have the words for it. And, and that's what I've given my life to. And every once in a while you change venues, work in schools for years, work in businesses. And when I was, I don't know, 60, 65, I started working communities because I didn't need the money so much from organizations. And everybody wants to say, when do you want to meet with top management? Well, I don't say this, but why would I want to do that? That's the least place of curiosity. Oh, I know why I meet with top management because they have the money. Thank you very much. Hi, how are you? And so all these things, and then you change venues from time to time. And after a while, you begin to believe in what you're doing, even though none of your family members understand it. I have a nice family, and I have two grandchildren that are mildly interested in what I do for a living. I'll take it, you know, and there's no time to get picky. And that's why we need each other, is to realize that there's something here and it matters. Whether you can't measure it by scale, uh, you can't measure it by, and what we're offering people in addition to connection is a taste of freedom, of liberation. So if you ask me, what does out loud mean? It means that we're offering people to live in a liberated workplace. And we're giving them the means of liberation, even if that's not what they're asking for. And the liberation means that it's the absence of oppression. Freedom is something totally different. Freedom means my capacity to create an alternative future, create a world. But to do that, I have to deal with the oppressive nature of the colonial world we're in. And the United States is the hardest country I've ever worked in. And every time I go to other places, we got to be careful. You don't understand what the people are like and saying, Latin America, blah, 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 Germany, blah, blah, blah. And as soon as I get there, I realize they care much more about relationships than we do. I went to Germany once and I was in a very weird place. I had people take off their shoes, make eye contact without speaking. That was my technology a while ago. And I was in Germany. I thought, oh, I better not do this. And they said, we don't want to control. We just want to know what we're going to do in the next 2 hours. And so I said, well, in an hour and 10 minutes, I'm going to have you take your shoes off and I'll make eye contact without using words for 4 minutes. I say, okay, where do we put my shoes? And I thought, oh my God, I thought they were idiots about control. They just cared about predictability. And so I don't do that anymore. But and so that's the notion. And I'm looking for people, looking for us, and I'll take two, I'll take one. So let me stop there. And again, the connection is the content is a phrase I use to remind myself that what we're doing matters. And instead of evidence, we provide experiences for people. When people say, where has this worked elsewhere? I say, you have doubts about this, don't you? Now you don't try to live in an evidential world. The notion of evidence-based medicine is a joke. Okay, it's a marketing tool, evidence-based. And so we're in the business of experience-based evidence. And the evidence will come from how we are together in this moment. And if it doesn't work, I just say, let's talk about what's not working. So let me stop there. And the small group has become a symbol of transformation for me. In the community work, it's a neighborhood. That's the biggest thing I can touch and reach. With us, it's the twos are too small, sixes are too big. And I want to create, four, but I want every aspect of constructing our time together. I wanted to affirm people's agency in creating not only this moment, but whatever they came to think about. And anytime they want to talk about those people, I say, I got it. You're right, comma. And what's your contribution to the very thing you came to complain about? As soon as I answer that question, I've treated myself in that moment as an agent, even if in truth it's beyond my, world. But that to me is the most loving question in the world: is what's your part in this? So let's break up into threesomes. And you're always asking people to be with people they know the least. So our connection methodologies is based on welcoming the stranger. I don't believe in like-minded groups because you'll never be surprised.
How many minutes?
Let's see, 8. I'm feeling generous. So people, of course, it's not enough time. Look at me. How do you think I feel with people? I don't have enough time. How do you think I feel, for God's sake? I have a single-digit life expectancy. Now, 8. Let's make it 9 minutes because I wasted the first minute. And let's talk about what's the crossroads you're at this stage of the game. And then don't be helpful. You have to tell people, do not help each other. For me to help you means I have something in mind for you, and that's a colonial process. So just say, why does it matter? And give each person 3 minutes. And when people say, could you explain the question? I say, no, it's as clear as I can be. And so ambiguity is the gift of transformation. And put me in a group. That's why I came.
Got it. We're going to send people off, and then we've had some people join. So most everyone will go immediately. And then if you feel like you're sticking around, I will be assigning you out. Just give it a second.
Peter's pick up.
I'm out of words. Don't you believe it? So we come back together. And so there is an ecology of us. So we're 19 people, 18 people. So you say, well, how do we hold these 18 people for an hour and 15 minutes in a way that And so when people come back, you don't want, if you leave them in the small group too long, they'll think that's where their future lies. Okay, and so you're always ending too quickly. Uh, then when you come back, I ask you what struck you. And so our main job is to invite lightning into the room. And that's God's wake-up call. Okay. So let me ask you what struck you about the conversation you just had. The other thing about that question means that the transformation comes from people's own reflection about their own experience. Now, I need a world out there to be inspired, to sustain my faith. I need to be with you this way. But you also say, well, what struck you about the experience you just had, which is very different than asking you to report on what happened. Because whatever I report on, when I describe anything outside myself, it's an act of fiction, even if I am mesmerizing in doing it. Even if I'm like Michelle and I can write 6 workbooks, 7 things, and 8 in under half an hour. Okay, but I also want to know what struck you. So let me ask you that. And then 4 of you speak. And then what we learn is when 4 people speak, they've spoken for the community, they've spoken for the world. So you don't have to slog around the room and listen to everybody.
Well, I'll go first, just kind of what I realized. And it's like, but it's kind of nice to hear it again, is everybody's at a crossroads all the time. They're considering something, something's happened to them, something might happen to them. And 2, for those of us with gray hair, we may be more towards the latter portion of our life. And what becomes important, I think, is more legacy than ego or monetary. And so that's what I got.
Thank you, Michelle, for going first. Other things that struck you about the conversation we just had.
I think, hi, I bring you greetings from Chicago. And I was in a group with Jacqueline and Ty. And I think what struck me most was not necessarily the content, but the environment. And so I felt that I felt honored to be in a space where Jacqueline and Ty were very vulnerable and transparent about what their crossroads were. Um, and Jacqueline, I heard you, and there were some things that I wanted to share as you shared kind of where you were. And I just want to say to you that you are more than enough, and that what you want to pursue it, go after it, gangbusters. And so I just want to thank you for trusting us with what you were feeling and thinking.
Thank you, Tish. Thanks for saying that to all of us also. And powerful.
Hi, it's Jason. I can go. So for our group, themes of meaning, identity, authenticity, and helping were I think the big 4, and I think they're all interrelated, but that's where we were orbiting during our conversation, and it was a pleasure to chat with those folks.
What was the pleasure, Jason?
I almost put this in the chat, the ability for us to be able to meet someone we don't know and immediately feel safe enough to be maybe a little bit vulnerable and show our true selves and have that true self be accepted and supported.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. It took 9 minutes, only because I gave you an extra minute.
That extra minute made a difference.
Yes,
I
it-
really, I experienced joy in being able to have someone witness the crossroad that I was feeling or that I feel I'm at. Um, I do a lot of work from home, and it's sessions like these, it's conversations like these that aren't strategy. It's not, I don't know, it felt like a water cooler moment. Um, and sometimes I miss those. So it was nice to declare and want to have someone witness my crossroad and my why. I'm complete.
They're very powerful words you're using. A declaration, you know. Anybody else like to say something?
I will. I
Thank you.
was struck by how quickly I could become a part of something generative. When we were sharing, I felt like we related to one another and we built upon one another's shares, and it just happened so quickly and naturally with two people I did not know previously.
I know. That's the power of how you design the way we inhabit rooms. I change the world one room at a time. Which one? Oh, the one I'm in. And it's quite amazing for me too. I mean, so the notion is that there's certain domains that, and my context for the work is to help people find agency and choice over whatever it is they care about, their life, this moment. I'm alone. I need money, but what choices do I have? That's why I like the crossroad. Treats people as if they have a choice, no matter how they're describing this life. And so I think that's the notion, and it overcomes our isolation. The other thing, when I tell you my crossroads, I'm a little more accepting about where I am than I was before I spoke it. And so my crossroads, I'm figuring out where to put my energy. Hardest thing for me is to find out what I'm good at, what my gifts are. And I was going to wait until my eulogy where people, but I realized I'm going to miss that. Damn it. Wasn't my idea. And so you say, well, as soon as I say out loud, what are my gifts? What am I at this stage? Somehow I'm more able to hold that question once you know it. And that, to me, there's something going on there. And then you say, well, what are the conversations wherever I am that they're not used to having? So I spend my life bringing into wherever I am conversations that with people are not used to having, with people they're not used to talking to. So I don't care what it is. We've done that with concerts here. I decided Cincinnati is my world since I'm not going to travel. And Ed Goodfriend has a six-piece group, plays his music, and so he plays it 4 songs, and then we stop. And he said, Peter, and I said, yeah, why don't we break into groups of 3 with 2 people you don't know, and talking about how is this music and Ed's performance landing on you. 10 minutes. And the room changes. All of a sudden, energy is coming from everywhere instead of the stage. And then we come back, and Ed said, with 3 people, like to say what struck you. And then the second half of his concert was something we were all creating together because the room now belonged to us. And that's about one of the most weird places that we say, how do we bring a sense of this? This is a room, and I will not feel at home here until I've been heard or I found some small way to have created this context. And even if we do a lot of things, dinner, festivals, concerts, street play, wherever you go, YMCA. And yet, if we don't have a conversation about something where we're vulnerable, as we're very clear about, I won't find the meaning in that place that I might have if I did something to know that I'm not alone. And I came to the gym to be with you as much as I did to be with treadmills. And then some places you do nothing. You go to the damn room, do what you came for, and get the hell out of there. But when you're in a place, and that's the thought. So one of the conversations we're least used to having. So I like the Crossroads one. I like the dissent. Okay, so colonial world, there's no place for dissent. You might notice that a bit of that is happening in our national leadership. That any whisper of dissent in the news anywhere is treated as a traitorous act, and we have to get rid of those people. Forget about what the content is. And so when you create space for dissent, the questions I like is, what's the yes you no longer mean? And what's the no I keep postponing? And if I answer those questions, I'm in trouble, because I have to say no to what I was postponing. And I have to say I no longer. And so you look for questions like that. What's the forgiveness you're unwilling to offer? I know you're a loving, compassionate person. People say, oh, there's no forgiveness I'm unwilling to offer. And then you say, well, if there was, what would it be? So you have these gentle ways of allowing people to put into words with something they did not come in mind for. And then the other one I like, well, there's promises. And what you're doing is helping people making promises to each other, not to the person in the front of the room. And all of our, even church, I like churches are going through a difficult time now. I like being with them because they have a great language. And what you offer the possibility is to help them live it out. Because where the church has the language of love and understanding and compassion, they don't know how to design for it. Like a friend of mine was put in as a pastor at a Presbyterian church. And they called it installing him. Like in the morning, I did the refrigerator. In the afternoon, I installed a pastor, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do this evening. So you're in the middle of this kind of history. And so they had me speak. He's a friend of mine. And I said, thank you for coming. Would you break into groups of 3 with 2 people you don't know? This is in the chapel. People lined up facing forward. Everybody else has got the podiums. God bless them. Installation, very serious, promise. And so and then they do it, and stand up, walk around, groups of 3 after 8 minutes, because I only had 12. I said, come back, what struck you? And the question I gave them, why was it important for you to be here today? And when you give the question, you don't care what the answer is. You never facilitate the small group. People want to talk about automobiles and the transmission not working, God bless them. So you create space, but you don't enforce it. And then they came back and I said, so 3, what struck you about the question? And they said, well, I came here for love. Love of Rich, love of the church. As soon as they say that, the room changes a little bit. It's their words that made the room sacred. And so wherever you are, you look for things like that and don't make a big deal of it. So the last thing I thought we would do is talk about gifts. So that to me is the hardest discussion. Because as soon as I hear what my gifts are, or I tell you what the gifts I've yet to bring into the world, I'm doomed. Because I'm going to have to do something about that. Instead of denying it, oh no, you think I'm going, you should see them, blah, blah, blah. And though the ultimate way I deny God's gift, I deny my accountability for being present, is to deny the gifts that I am. Who knows where they came from? Kroger's, fine, I'll take it. And so I'd like to close with the gift conference. So with these two people, can you send us back to the same room?
I actually closed them and I already redid them, so they're going to go with new people.
Okay, well, we'll pretend as if
Most
we
of the
know
folks
each other.
here know each other or will know each other shortly.
Yeah,
So,
let's act as if we know each other.
okay.
And give us 7 minutes. Okay, since
Okay.
What's the question, Peter?
the question is, what's the gift I received from you or received in this moment? If they're in the room, better. If not, what's the gift and then talk about why it mattered. So I need to know what gift I am to you and why it matters to you. And if you don't tell me now, I'll never know. And then if you weren't in the same small group, we'll do it just us having been here and listening to the questions we asked as we act as if we can do this. I think the gifts is worth doing. Or if you don't know the other two people, then answer the question, what's the gift I've not yet fully brought into the world? And you want to ask questions that there's no escape. And let's do it now. What's the gift I've not fully brought into the world? Or if I've seen you, heard you, what's the gift I got from you, even though you whispered a question or a statement?
I caught the tail end of that, Peter.
Did you?
Did right when we were going out.
She was thanking me for the way I mean. I said it's unusual for older white men not to come like this, or like that. People come to be in workshops say, why am I sitting here listening to an old white man? And I don't have an answer. I said, I don't know. What the hell are you doing here? So, again, what struck you? Okay, the gift conversation to me is I don't know, it's the most powerful, but you have to do it after a while. You can't start with it. I have to know, but even, I don't know, it's just another thing that goes with that is what courage is required of you now. And that question, when I answered it, got me into all kinds of, actually, it gave me a future. So let me ask you what struck you about either us being together or the moment you just had with each other.
I'll jump in.
Thank you.
Sure. I think one of the things that struck me the most is how quickly it felt refreshing to both witness or share or be shared about in such a positive way. I think we could use more. We could all probably use more of that.
Beautiful. Thank you. I like you added the word witness. I don't have to do it to be touched by it. And I often think in raising my children, I wish I just focused on who are they instead of worrying about how they're doing, thinking I had a role in creating them. So anyway, thank you for saying something, Samantha. Anything else that struck you about having been with each other and us, either in the last 7 minutes or?
Yeah, just Jason. I was in with Jason and Rick, and it was kind of I've Jason and I have done some work together, and Rick I knew Rick from another place and time, but what really struck me was Rick's ability to kind of just tune in to who we are in the moment. I liked that approach. That he just tuned into what he was getting right in the moment, and he was spot on. It felt really energizing. Well, it felt affectionate. I liked it. Yeah.
Do you say affectionate? Yeah. Some people call it love, but affectionate will do. I was with Dr. Tish and Dr. Eileen. I didn't realize I was two doctors, but your letting me know what I've meant to you changes it. It's just beautiful. Because you say, haven't you heard it before? Yeah, but not really, not from you, and you're just so clear about that. And, it's confronting to me because then I have to quit whining. You tell me what a gift I've been to you. And I said, and why are you whining, Peter? Grow up, goddammit. You're living in single digit heaven. Okay. And but it's beautiful. And thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Because I would never know if you didn't tell me. I would know in the abstract, but it's always an expression of love to hear it in a moment. It's not whether you heard it before or not. So thank you. Other things that struck you in the time we've been together.
I think this was an invitation to love people that I may not know at all or very well, or even just an opportunity to slow down and reflect on where I am, because I do this work locally and I've just been doing it the last 5 years here in Western Washington. And I work with tribes a lot, and I heard words that were very familiar when you said certain things. And to me, those are trauma-informed practices, and that's what I try to apply when the work is related to marginalized populations. And it's find agency and choice and in the moment, and just allowing that in the work. To hear you say that, I was like, oh, this makes my heart happy, because I'm trying to figure out how to blend trauma informed and OD. So thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. And part of the intention is to give up describing, labeling people. There's an enormous amount of love, charity, and social service that treats people as objects. And there's no such thing as a homeless person. I don't care where you're sleeping tonight. And when I'm near them, I say, what are you good at? And they sing, they cook. And so, anyway, thank you, Denise. And then the questions do ask people, I don't care what your condition is, what's up for you now? What choice do you have? And having no opinion about the choice that you have. I want to do nothing. Got it. Makes sense. Other thoughts you have, and we'll close with a song and a dance. And I have a 10-minute video I want to show you. I'm just kidding.
I think what I heard a lot in this room, and I appreciate, Denise, what you just said, that reminder to slow down, thinking about just the wisdom of connection, and the connection as a preface for any learning, that we are open to learning and open to growth when we feel strengthened by each other's nearness, right? And that nearness is both, I mean, perhaps physical or mental, or just with our hearts, as again, as Denise said, with that love, but also feeling reminded, as things have been tough lately, that we're doing good things. We're doing good work. We're with a group of good people in the midst of a sea of good people who have hearts and cares and the desire for goodness for themselves and their families and their communities, and that is something worth continuing, worth continuing every day.
And that evokes in me the notion that the work we're doing is political. So you see the world and say, what's going on there? Well, let me create the alternative. It's a political act. You're doing it for the sake of the act. And you say, but it's only 7 people. Well, that's all I can reach at the moment. And that's the world you tell people when they say, what do I do in the face of? And whether it's the national, the fact we're living in an empire. Okay, so what do I want to talk about the empire, protest the empire? No, I want to create a community. I want to create the alternative to empire, which is connection, wherever I am. And then I can decide if I want a bigger platform, then find it. I'm working with people running for office now, and they're running to be elected. And I'm saying, why do you present yourself as a product and citizens as a consumer? How about in the next time you gather for a fundraiser, you say, before I ask you for money, would you break into groups of 3 and say, why was it important for you to be here? So I've got 2 people so far, but hopefully in the next 5 years, I'll have a 3rd. And the whole notion is that this is how I want to govern. If you want to elect me to an office, I want you to know what it's like by the way I campaign. And it's just, you keep thinking of stranger ways to bring yourself. And then you show up that way and you say, okay, that's best I can do against the imperial moment. And all right. Thank you for the gift of being with me. And, it's just so, I don't know. I feel the work we do lets people know three things. One is that they're not crazy. The other is that there's nothing wrong with you. I know you're a wacko human being, but there's nothing wrong with you. And the third is we're not alone. And being with you for this time reminds me of those things. So,
Can we practice give back? You've given us your time and your heart this morning, and I'd love to just do an around the room.
okay.
Just go ahead and come off mute and a little give back for Peter before we leave today.
I like that word give back. I'll use that. Hearts, love, prayer.
Go ahead, Jacqueline.
Oh, I was just going to mention in chat, I know you much care about the books, but I am still savoring the lessons and insights in freedom and accountability. And I feel like you're living that, what I've learned up from it so far. And it's beautiful, and I want to carry it on.
Beautiful, thank you. Bernie, say something.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I didn't know what to expect because you should never know what to expect, really. So it felt like a gift that was being given, like slowly shaped through your words and via community to find like an ultimate, like, I mean, I use this word in chat, tenderness and care, not just for myself as I ask myself these questions, but as I hear everyone else's answers and see the shifts in their faces. And I feel like that's something very valuable and something I'm going to carry through the rest of my week and continue thinking about as the summer goes on. So, truly, that is the gift.
Thank you. I'm glad I forced you. Glad I put the pressure on you. Thank you.
Dr. Tish?
So this, I really appreciate this gift. And I really am honored that I got to sit at your feet, even for a short period of time, to soak up your genius. And it just leaves me craving for even more of it. So thank you so much for being you, and then giving us those wisdom keys that you have. Thank you.
Thank you. And, you're creating that in the way you show up. And I'm just a useful mirror for you. So I'm happy to be that. I just can't not say anything. I'm working on it, but it's not going well.
John, you came off mute?
Yeah, Peter, thank you for a question that I'd never considered, which is in your example with the concert. I heard a question: how do we make this room belong to us?
Mm.
And that strikes me so deeply as an incredible question to ask in the rooms that I walk into. So thank you for giving us that.
Thank you for wording it that way, John. It teaches me something in your wording, and how do I do it before it's over? Because most of my life I reflect on what happened in the past. But your language is beautiful. Thank you, John. All right, time, right? We're done? Anybody else want to say anything?
Mercedes
Just
has her hand up.
yeah, just one more, and I know that you hear me say
Mercedes?
yes. I just said one more, and just I know you've heard me say this before, but thank you for modeling humanness and boldness, both in the same phrase and the same experience. And once again, appreciate you calling out the colonial behavior as we talk about love and connection. So thank you.
Beautiful. Yes, both are true. Thank you, Mercedes.
Thanks, everybody.
Wait, well, Marissa wants to
See you all in
focus back on-
October.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Bye. Right.
Cincinnati's not that.
Oh, Faith, Marissa had her just threw her hand up.
Oh,
Oh, sorry, I was
Oh,
just
she was
clapping,
clapping.
but
Oh,
thank
okay.
you.
I don't have my glasses
Thank
on.
you.
I thought
You know, Cincinnati isn't that far from Kansas City, Peter. I mean,
Who's in Kansas City?
Kansas City.
Kansas City is where our conference will be in
Kansas
October.
where I
City,
grew
He
up.
lives
Kansas.
there.
I went to
Yeah.
Shawnee Mission High School, for God's sake.
I live in Kansas City. I go to Shawnee Mission High School every week to play tennis.
Well,
Who knew?
I just found a letter that said to Pete Block, a tennis letter from the coach 1957.
Wow.
You're kidding.
Love it.
Wow.
Wow. What a world.
Say hello to the plaza for me, okay?
I will. I will.
See ya.
Thank
Thanks,
you. You're
Thanks,
everybody.
everyone.
carrying on the
Thank
legacy,
you.
John.
Great.
Thanks,
Take care.
everyone.
Bye.
So
Bye-bye. Thank you,
valuable.
Faith. Thank you,
Bye.
everyone. Thank you,
Bye.
Aline. Thank
Mer-
you. Thank you for
Mercedes,
this.
am I going to meet you over in WhatsApp?
Yes.
Cool.
You want to just move that?